and we'll finish up this little bit here. Thank you. And that's great, Michael. We'll talk some more about that. We're going to stay on target, but so critically true how that is.
Who's Gabby?
Yeah.
Where's
Deborah?
Gabby at? Where is Gabby?
Yeah. How are you, Deborah?
I'm okay. Thanks for giving me the info about how to get to the meeting again.
Oh, you bet. It's our pleasure to have you. Actually, we enjoy having you. So, and that goes for everybody here. And there's Kim O'Kelly. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Keith. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And hi, Elizabeth. How are y'all?
You're
That's
talking
yeah,
about
well.
me.
Right. That didn't come out very correctly.
Michael said that's his speak. So I think you're right on the money with him.
Oh, good, Michael. That's good. Oh my gosh. I have to tell you guys a crazy story. So a woman that I met at pool class, okay, exercise in the pool, she thought she had had a stroke. They had told her she had a stroke. It was balance issues. And she went back to the doctor. This is years later. The hole in her head was gone. And it turns out that it wasn't a stroke. You know, again, misinformation by where you go. It was caused by shingles.
Wow.
It went into her inner ear. Yes, but it presented with a hole in her from the MRI. She had a hole. Isn't that crazy? She's going to text me the name of what it was, but gosh, it's so why we get so misdiagnosed so much of the time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let's not go down that road yet. No, next meeting, we're going to have an all play again. And I think that's a great topic, actually. I'm going to write that down right now.
I mean, it truly has nothing to do with our attitude and how we respond once we've had a stroke or no matter what. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Agreed. And oh my gosh, as you all know, I agree with Kim 100% on that. So thank you, Kim. Just a second, Arnie. Kate, how are you? Is that a good banana?
Got an apple going. Yep.
Oh, it's
Afternoon
an
snack.
apple.
Hi, Stephen.
I only said that because I'm jealous. So good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And Richard keeps trying to get connected, but we're going to get kicked off, you guys. So, and people will come in. I just want to mention one more time that Gabby is helping run the meeting today. Thank goodness for her for doing that. And I just want to make sure we all recognize her for that, because it's really difficult to manage all the people in and out. And this way I can focus and hopefully help all of us continue down the road here. And so appreciate that so much, Gabby. Then, gosh, I just want to say thank you to everybody here, everybody who's joining. It's fabulous to see everybody in here. We're going to have a good meeting today. We're really looking forward to it. And one of the things I wanted to make sure I said to everybody today was that I put the copy of this on my own YouTube channel, which I have my own stuff, as some of you know, but and then we put it on Stroke Awareness Oregon's website as well, or their YouTube channel. I have personally over 60 people watch the last recording that we did. And so I say that just to let everybody know that just because we don't have 1,000 people watching this or whatever, we're making a huge impact. And you guys, all of you out there, are so positive and so forthcoming with your positiveness, that it makes a huge difference out there. And we are making a difference in the community of stroke. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, and give yourselves a pat on the back if you would, because it's huge what you're doing. So last meeting was an open meeting. We got to know a bunch of everybody. We got through pretty much everybody. I may have missed one or two. If so, I apologize. But we got through pretty much everybody, and it was really fabulous to hear everybody's story. And even though it was short, it's really good to hear that, and that way everybody gets a chance to speak their mind a little bit and get some input from others. So it was great. All right. Last thing I want to say before we kick this off and get Stephen going here is that I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I'm not joking. You guys really help motivate myself and help me to come out and do what I do. And I love doing it. I love these meetings. I love seeing all of you. And I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart personally to all of you. Because it means a lot to me that we're growing this and that we're making an impact for the stroke community out there. So thank you. All right, enough of that. I'll dry up here. So today we have someone who is becoming a pretty good friend of mine. And we have a really pleasure actually of having Stephen Hale join us. Stephen works for Stroke Awareness Oregon. He's the community impact and engagement professional. He's going to share about his own experience, which I had the privilege of sitting down with him and listening to him, and it's unbelievable, frankly. And he was a captain in the Army. Which led to post-traumatic stress disorder, actually, in the Afghanistan war. There's much more. I won't go into too much. I want to make sure y'all realize he has a Purple Heart and a Silver Star. It's incredible. We had a chance. Oh, I said that already. So anyway, without further ado, welcome, Stephen. We're so thankful you're here, buddy.
Thank you, Keith. And thank you, everyone. As Keith said, I'm Captain Stephen Hale, U.S. Army retired. I'm honored to be here today with all of you warriors, and I hope that I can provide a sliver or two of insight about my own healing journey, and so that perhaps it may inspire you on yours. First off, I would like to thank the team members and the board and the volunteers at Stroke Awareness Oregon for their service and sacrifice. And I would like to mention CARE, which is our 4 main goals right now, and that's collaboration, because it takes a community, bring people together, building bridges, and that's what Stroke Awareness Oregon is trying to do, fighting the good fight. Awareness and the FAST campaign, Be Fast, and before Be Fast now. Recovery, of course, our support groups. Recovery takes oneself and community as well. And we're rolling out a new peer-to-peer program, which we're very excited about, and more to follow on that. And our education programs we're doing, Stroke 101, Stroke Heroes, and Stroke Academy, which a few of those came on this in this call is heading up. So thank you, Keith, again, for your work giving survivors strength after stroke. Ralph at Warrior Radio, Stroke Warrior Radio. And thanks to all you bright shining stars for your attendance, for showing up for your own healing, and for waking up this morning, and give yourself some love and gratitude for that, because healing is important work. And it's that service and sacrifice to your brain and your body that makes this world a better place. I'm going to start off by reading a poem I wrote since I was a captain, a form that I started writing when I was a graduate student at OSU Cascades was to put my writing in a memorandum format, and that allowed me to get into these places that sometimes were hard to go. Memorandum for record, subject, approaching mental breakdown. 1, a February morning, another sleepless night, running before dawn across the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, not for physical training, but because of restlessness, because the firearm in your closet was taunting you. 2, you ironed your long sleeve white dress shirt, then measured 3 times the distance between your combat infantryman badge and your silver star to ensure it was precise. These small details matter to an Army Ranger. 3, seated in the beige leather of your black Lexus, the seat heater comforting you more than you can ever remember being comforted as a child, adolescent, or adult. 4, the engine running outside of a Starbucks in Alexandria. You were craving something, a pumpkin spice latte and a spinach feta wrap. But through the driver's side tinted car window, through the rain, and through the storefront paint glass, you see 3 people waiting in line. Your tongue dries, your throat swells, your hands begin to tremble. You shift into drive and press your foot on the gas. Driving south on I-95, listening to the audiobook, Red Badge of Courage, with your left hand holding the wheel, you place an oval orange pill on your tongue, then reach for your canteen. You are scanning, you are scanning, you are scanning. You signal to change lanes and pass a red Honda Civic with out-of-state plates. 6, you arrive in Quantico, put on your black beret, look in the rearview mirror, then polish the smudge out of the lieutenant bar on your flash. You exit the safety of your car. Walking up to the red brick building, your heart pumping faster with every tap of your polished black dress shoes on the asphalt. 7, opening the swinging glass door, the hot breeze stings your nose. You walk towards the lecture hall. A Marine colonel walks towards you. You say, "Sir," then nod before looking away. Your ribbons are brighter than your eyes these days. 8, you walk into the crowded classroom, chatter of 100 mouths pecking your brain. Today's lecture, logistics and medical support of combat operations. You don't need a lecture, you need to speak. You turn around and head for the bathroom where you choose the 3rd stall. You close the door and speak to it. So that brings up the first thing I wanted to talk about today, and that's self-advocacy. And I'm going to kind of weave my story in and out. Some of that you can glean from the piece that I just read. And that's what you didn't get in this piece is that in that asphalt, one day is when I made the call to mental health because I listened to myself and I knew I wanted to make a change and I wanted to be better for myself, for my family, for my community, and and for this world. So that's listen to your inner cub, your inner self, your inner tuition, your inner child. Know when you need to speak. Listen. Know when you need help. Listen. Know when it's time to initiate that change. Listen to yourself. This can be for stroke survivors. I'm sure all of you remember having that stroke. And maybe don't beat yourself up if you feel that you could have done something differently to prevent where you're at now. I think it's important to honor where we're at now. So listen to that. We all have to live with the scars and the wounds with where we are. So our faces may droop, our limbs may be numb, one half of our body paralyzed, but it's your spirit, and that's strong. And that's all you need. in the healing journey. Self-advocacy is strength. I remember walking the halls of Expeditionary Warfare School in Quantico. I was an Army officer, specially selected to attend that 10-month course with the Marine Corps. And because I was taking more time out of my day, out of the class schedule to attend medical appointments, people started looking at me differently. Despite my Ranger tab, the stack of ribbons I had as a junior officer, that became weight. And I had to have a lot of strength during that period. So I think your inner voice is like that inner leader crying out, "Follow me." And if we're willing to listen to that, then we find our way through the darkness and into the light. So keep your chin above your shoulders. Look yourselves and others in the eye. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about Ranger School, because we're all warriors here. I remember this Ranger instructor. Ranger School is 62 days, and in a way it simulates a brain injury, because very little food, our bodies are very taxed, very tired. We have to learn to operate and be very sharp in that state. And I remember one day hauling an M249 machine gun up this towering mountain in Dahlonega, Georgia, thinking this must have been Mount Everest that would never end. And sometimes that's how the healing journey can feel. Is this is going on? Am I the brunt of some joke? And a Ranger instructor yelled from way back, "Stop feeling sorry for yourselves, Rangers." And I think that's important. Now, I do want to say it's okay to go there for a little bit, have the pity party. We all need that. It's a little bit of self-love. And then stop feeling sorry for yourselves, warriors. Because warriors get up and heal themselves and help others up and move on. Healing is an opportunity, just as graduation from Ranger School was an open door for me. During that graduation ceremony, an old crusty Vietnam Ranger came up to me. He pinned my tab on my left shoulder. And he said, "Now, Lieutenant Hale, you've earned that tab, but now you have to spend every day of your life proving that you're worthy of it." And I think that says a lot about what it means to be a warrior. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about navigating through darkness. So of course you have an Army Ranger here to talk. We're going to talk a little bit about land navigation, because that's something we do in the Army, and it's an important skill. So when it gets dark, navigating through the forest, take a knee, orient your map, check your compass, stand up, breathe, and walk to your waypoints. We can't outrun the darkness, so we have to learn from it. And again, breathe. Check your compass, always. Navigate out of the darkness into a brighter day of newfound strength and perseverance. During Special Forces selection, I was crushing land navigation. We had four days land navigation. And on the last night, I got lost. I misread the map in the darkness under my red lamp, and had to do exactly what I've just said, and that's I had to take a knee, breathe. I'm here. I can't outrun tonight. Being overwhelmed is not going to help anything. So I just had to get back to my senses and find my way out to that next waypoint. And I did. We are all the leaders of our own journey, our own healing journey. And I think there's a point, I can't remember the gentleman who said it about P.T.S.D, but the rabbit hole we could go down with misdiagnoses and things like that. And I think it's an important note to touch on, to be the leaders of our own healing. Only we know best what's best for us. We have to listen to the professionals, but at the end of the day, we have to live, and I had to live with the decisions I made along my journey. So another example, I want to bring a little a metaphor of a survivor and a caregiver. I was competing in the Best Ranger competition in 2013. In this competition, we have a partner, and so I liken this to a survivor and a caregiver. and we were doing very well. At the first day, we were in the lead, and then we were at inland navigation daytime, and of course two people now navigating instead of one. And so we all know how sometimes that can jumble up the direction, and we have to find a mutual consensus on which way to go. So another team went right, and I looked at my battle buddy Jeremy, Sergeant Lima, and he said, "Let's go left." But I felt in my heart that going right was the direction, but I didn't say anything. And we got incredibly lost. I threw my ruck and myself into a river in Georgia. We finally made it out, and we had lost some ground on that. And that's not to highlight Jeremy's failure, because it wasn't his failure at all. I didn't speak up. And so I wanted to highlight that about the survivor or warrior caregiver relationship, and how important that is in navigating the healing journey. And I always think of this place I've been at in overcoming combat trauma as west of the moon and east of the sun. It's this place of choice between past and present, death and life. Which way do I want to go? It's in the midnight, in the midnight of that land navigation challenge. And I've always chosen to walk on. It's like the only choice I ever knew, but it's not easy. Certainly not. And a new dawn doesn't mean the same old dawn. Isn't it? It's so hard to comprehend, to accept that the new dawn, a new morning that we face with our disabilities is not the same one that we're used to, that we grew up being happy with. And I, for one, early on, fought that. And I judged it, really, is what I was doing. Why is this different? Why am I different? And eventually, through treatment and through leading really my own treatment program, I did spend 20 months at a comprehensive traumatic brain injury clinic in Washington, D.C. It's called the National Intrepid Center of Excellence. Great place, smaller building next to the hospital, kind of nestled in the woods, where I could get my healing a la carte. Everything from speech therapy, physical therapy, acupuncture, mental health, PM&R, let's see, what else? Aquatic therapy, art therapy, group therapy. So it was nice, but then outside of that, I had to be the designer and the architect of my own healing, and that requires a lot of reading and agency and leadership to take control of that. And I, for one, made a decision. Of course, this is everyone's decision to make on their own in conjunction with their healthcare providers. So this is not me in any way giving advice on your journey. But I remember coming home with grocery sacks full of medications. And one day I just stacked them up in this like castle on high of prescription medications. And I said, I'm done. I'm done with all of this. I couldn't fathom how all of these were working together in my body effectively. And there wasn't just one doctor overseeing all of that. I'm not sure that there's a doctor intelligent enough to oversee all of the chemistry and inner workings of all those going together. So as we know, sciences we're learning as we go. We trust the best we can, but in the end, I had to make that decision. And then with that decision, my behavioral health counselor says, well, Steve, in the Army says that if you're not taking medications, nothing's wrong with you. So again, having agency and strength and self-advocacy. So now I want to read this poem during my healing journey. And if anyone, this is a group that I'm a part of. If anyone has any questions, or Steve, if you want to, or sorry, Keith, if you want to interject at any time, please do. An important aspect of my healing journey was art therapy. And I started writing during this period. I've always written, but I started bringing in this deeper side of me into the writing. And this one is one I wrote early on during my healing journey. It's called The Architect Within. From insight to mind, mind to hand, hand to compass, compass to carbon, and carbon to vellum. The passion, the dove, soon rises above. From quarry to stone, stone to brick, brick to mason, mason to mortar, and mortar to pillar. The labor, the love, soon rises above. 'Tis the mind which the architect relies, only for work he gives, his love he denies, wanting out, desiring, and demanding, 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 through disaster, weather, war, and time. Though the body of the architect dies, his legacy lives, his spirit cries, speaking out, inspiring, and standing, 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 through disaster, weather, war, and time. You see, my friends, life's meaning isn't derived from the dreams we dream, nor the plans we sketch. It's only the structures we build and the stones we etch. The architect within rotates the compass 360. Wisdom once received is now proffered. A legacy built is left offered. For many or for few, legacy provides insight to minds anew. The universe therein rotates the compass 360, from insight to mind. I found it so important to, through the writing, this insight that came through me to discover myself, who I was in the moment today. And it was always sort of different. I had to, for example, learn and accept to be bald at one point, because I had plucked individually over the course of many months my hair out. And so I never knew I had curly hair like this until 2016 or so. So I think that highlights an important aspect of this is we don't know what's through that door. We just have to have the strength to walk through it. And it's about learning a new rhythm of life, the circadian rhythm. Sleep is beneficial. I wanted to bring this one up because after I came back from combat, and this has been a challenge, fighting this collective idea that sleep is so bad. And then if we sleep in this life, we're lazy or brain injured or destitute. I remember a year after redeploying from Afghanistan, being the executive officer of a company at Fort Hood, and at lunchtime, secretly driving my car away, parking to hide myself the best I could and taking a nap, right? And this tough old Army Ranger knew he needed sleep because
Even
self-care-
you're not old
it does
by any means.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that. I had a friend once say, Stephen, I think my husband and I, we drink a lot of tea and we feel that we're going to live longer than others for that. And my quip to that was, well, my tea is sleep then. I think it's important. And you know what? Science backs that up. So I'll take my naps and be happy in my circadian rhythm. If the sun's going down and it's 6 p.m. and I'm tired and need to rest during the wintertime, I'll do it. And so, yeah, using my own compass, finding my own rhythm, and not playing the role of victim. I think that's important. It can be so easy so many times. I found myself in the process of why me? And then after you climb one mountain and you're climbing another and you think that's done, then something else knocks you down, because grief happens again, even after TBI or PTSD, after stroke, life happens. And it's having that strength not to fall into that victim role and to every day earn your valor. Having the courage to earn that valor. We all can do it. It's not a medal. It's not a medal. A silver star or a medal of honor is not a medal only I was eligible for. We all are, as humans, are eligible to earn medals of valor. And it's about right effort, right action, right time. Experiment with your healing, with life, and be playful. Yeah, I wanted to, any battle or war story wouldn't be complete without talking about enemies a little bit. And so I wanted to talk about honoring enemies, and I'm going to also put caregivers in with that. And I'll touch on that, so don't jump to any conclusions there. I underwent, I guess I should say, 7 ketamine therapy sessions recently in the last couple of years for PTSD, TBI, all the above. And during one of those sessions, I was talking with the enemies who I faced in Afghanistan. And they heard this in the lobby. I came to find out later. In my session, I yelled out, "I'm sorry, please forgive me. I was only trying to survive. And that's what it's about, honoring and forgiving our enemies. And maybe that's our own body a lot of times, but that forgiveness is important. Early on in my healing journey, well, it's actually after I was retired from the Army, I went to this 30-day outpatient program in Malibu for PTSD. And I learned this Ho'oponopono, which is this ancient Hawaiian practice of forgiveness. And it goes, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And it doesn't mean that that in saying that I did anything wrong. It's just a mantra for forgiveness. And so usually daily, that's something I'll say to give myself the gift of forgiveness, which I think is important in any healing journey. Because the real war is up here. I truly believe that. And the battle is, for all of us, it is up here and in here. And in that, we're all alike. And we all face a common enemy. So we can defeat our enemies, but we can honor them and defeat. We can expand. I'm sorry, did someone?
Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead. Stephen.
I didn't get that. It didn't come through clearly. And now, so gift the gift of forgiveness. And about caregivers. Caregivers are not the enemy. But I know during the healing journey, it's easy to make a caregiver into the enemy. I know I did that with my girlfriend and then wife, Brooke Blue. It's important to acknowledge, honor, thank, and forgive them. So thank you, Brooke. Because as much as our caregivers give care for us, help with the daily logistics, and are there for our listening ear, to cry with us, to laugh with us, they're also human, and they're going to make mistakes as well. They are also warriors in training. They're just a different kind. And if you're not nice to them or you don't honor them, they may come and stick a Trojan horse up your ass. So I think, and let's remember the humor in the entire process as well. It's serious work, but we have to laugh at ourselves. We have to laugh at each other. We really do. Otherwise, it takes that open door from an opportunity into a trap or something, I believe. And it's okay to dance with it. So I wish my former caregiver, Brooke Blue, and my former wife were here. I know she would laugh at that. She was an angel for me, and I think all caregivers should have their wings, especially for those supporting us with some brain injuries.
Right.
I was in Peru last September, and I was in the Amazon rainforest, and that's kind of where I go when I needed to do some real deep healing. And interestingly enough, some stuff from my adolescence was coming up, my childhood. I was thinking, wow, with everything I've been through, a decade of healing, I didn't get to this. And I guess that's because I was triaging TBI and PTSD. And so some stuff was coming up, and I had this, it was in bright neon letters, almost like it would be in a bar. And it said, hang yourself or climb up. And I thought, wow, that's some tough love. And I think that's important though, because we have a choice. We can either sink under or we can climb up. And that's what I had to do in combat. When I was shot, I I had to get up. It was the second time I ran into a hail of machine gun fire. The first time one of my soldiers had a compound fracture. He was trying to bound back and his leg was caught in a rock. And he and his team leader were pinned down to the machine gun fire. And I, as the officer in charge, had to make the decision. Typically, it's not my job, but we were short-handed that day because life happened. And plans don't always go the way we think they're going to go. And I ran forward, was shot a couple times doing that. My armor absorbed those. And then I ran back up to get another mortally wounded soldier, and then we were both shot again. And I remember being shot and having some shrapnel go in the back of my head and falling to the ground and thinking I'm dead. That was it. There was no, I think I'm going to die. It was, I'm dead. And then there was a breath and a voice that said, get up and go. Your mission's not done. And so I think those of us that have been given that check, that's a second chance, we are specially selected because we are choosing life. And happiness is an endeavor. I'm worth it. You all are worth it. But it's not easy. But that's why we're warriors.
Hey, Stephen,
And that's why we're still here. Yes, sir.
hey, I want to say thank you for your service. And one of the things I found out during my recovery period, I listened more to my body than I did a lot of times to the doctor, because the doctor didn't know what I was capable of, but I did, and my body knew what I was capable of and where my limits were. And so just like what you said earlier, you really have to listen to your body. And sometimes the experts don't know everything about you. You know, sometimes I just put you in a pool with everybody else.
Yes, and it's a challenge to accept science and the word of highly trained and educated doctors or other professionals, but also make that tough decision that my journey is my own. And like I said, that's the warrior spirit. That's what sets oneself apart from another. The will to make those difficult choices. So I wanted to say, smile, you're alive. And if your face muscles won't allow that, then make your heart smile. A couple days ago, I'd been talking with Jim Patterson, the president of Stroke Awareness Oregon. I said, Jim, what do you think about a warrior ethos for stroke survivors? Because this is something we said in Ranger School every day. We had the Ranger Creed. I still recite the Ranger Creed in my head. I still tell myself to stop feeling sorry for myself. And I said, well, let me think of some ideas and then I'll shoot it over to you, Jim. And the other night, having dinner, it came to me, just like insight sometimes does. And so I wanted to read this to an audience for the first time. And this is for you warriors. It's based on the acronym WARRIOR. Waking up to a new brain, body, and existence, I choose life. Accepting this new path, I walk with honor and moral compass. Readily why display the fortitude required to recover and endeavor to a life of happiness. Right action, right time, rich and abundant heart, reverence to my true and highest self. I will fight for my freedom of movement, cognition, consciousness, and spirit. Obligated to nothing but my own healing, I honor my courageous caregivers. I orient my compass to the morning star, that new dawn I was talking about. Recognizing that I have been specially selected, I'll always endeavor to uphold the honor, happiness, and high esprit de corps of all stroke warriors. Warriors lead the way. Thank you. Any questions, comments? You want to open it up?
That was incredible. Most everybody's muted, Stephen, but that was, yeah, that was incredible, my friend.
Take
Yeah.
our mute off so we can have some comments.
Really
Thank
excellent.
you all for doing what you're doing for yourselves.
Yeah. So as we move forward here, what I like to do is ask questions. And Gabby, if we could put it back into the other view, that way I can see people who raise their hands, and that way we can call on people that have questions. It's best if we do it that way, because that way we're not all tying into one another all the time. And let's see.
It should already be done.
I'm not seeing the,
I see a hand.
I see everybody. Oh, there we go. There it went. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Jim Patterson, go ahead, buddy.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
I wanted to make sure that all the warriors on this call recognize that as a part of stroke research, what we're finding is that our military veterans who return home with traumatic brain injury or PTSD are at a 60% higher risk of stroke. So for Stephen to be with us today, there's a great connection, because Stephen is going to help Stroke Awareness Oregon in our effort to engage with our veterans and be a part of inspiration and a source of hope for them when they battle life as a part of stroke, because they're at a significantly higher risk of stroke as a result of their traumatic brain injury or PTSD.
Absolutely. Thank you. Stephen, do you have any comment on that, or?
I think that's important to know. I think, in fact, in the first interview I had here, I said, I was speaking with Don Forrester. I said, Don, I wonder if veterans, because of brain injury and PTSD, are at any higher risk, and maybe there's an opportunity there to bring the two together. And so a little bit of research, and all of a sudden this is sort of exploding into our consciousness, and I think it is important. And also, as a limb of the overall tree of awareness, to point that out. And if I can help spread the word to the veteran community, it's important. And it's also important to the prevention, the before PFAS. What can the community do to what can I do to help myself out and take charge of my own lifestyle to be on top of this, so I can maybe not prevent it. Maybe it's going to happen, but maybe I can, by reducing some stress and getting more exercise, without also guilting myself all day long.
A lot of times the knowledge alone that stroke can happen is enough to get people motivated. It's getting that knowledge out there. It's getting people aware of what happens and how, stroke can affect them. So I think we are a huge part of helping that, getting that message out there. So did I see Arnie? Arnie?
Yeah. Hey, Keith, this is what I wanted to add to that. I was a little bit frustrated since I joined a group. The only reason is because, Keith, the Stroke Awareness Oregon is just awesome. You know that. I told you that before. But, it's education. You hear it on TV, breast cancer awareness month. You hear about this, or heart attack awareness month. You hear about all that kind of stuff, but you never hear about anything about stroke awareness. In the media and the reason I say that is because, strokes are 10 times the impact to families than a heart attack is. The heart attacks are it's a bad situation, but you can have heart surgery. You can heal from a heart attack, where strokes, you can't have brain surgery to repair what happened to your brain. And, and you got caregivers, you got loss of income. You can't work anymore. So, I mean, the impact to not only society, to your family is 10 times the impact that heart attacks have. And so I'm just wondering, what can be done to get, the stroke awareness out there, because.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
So Arnie, I agree 100% with what you're saying. I totally agree with you. And I think probably everybody in this room, and if anybody wants to call me out on this, do so. I believe that what we are doing by growing this group, by getting more people involved, all the stuff that I do, Jim, all of you are doing, getting the message out there all the time, we are growing it. Now, Arnie, I'm right there with you, buddy. Nothing was done for a long time now. I can say nothing, but not enough to move the wheel. I think that we're going to get that wheel moving. Will we, you and I, Arnie, are we going to be around when it happens? I don't have the answer to that, buddy, but we are making an impact. And that's how I feel personally on this. And if anybody else wants to comment on that,
in St. Louis, they'll be on the news that there's, walk for cancer, walk for this, walk for that. There's no walk for stroke awareness. I had very little risk factors, Keith.
There are some. Michael, you're muted, buddy. Just a second. Arnie, it is happening though. We are seeing some things. And go ahead, Michael.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is what you're talking about, Arnie, that walk doesn't do any good. The fact of it is awareness to stroke doesn't do any good either. I was aware of stroke. I was aware it wasn't good, but I didn't have a clue how devastating a stroke was. And
I agree. Michael, I agree 100%.
80% of all strokes are caused by high blood pressure. 80% of them. Then that other 20% it is a huge gamut of what can cause stroke. And even if we could somehow bring awareness down to the blood pressure, we would be accomplishing so much.
Michael,
yes, Keith.
Michael, good point, my friend. But I am going to profess something here, and most of you aren't going to agree with me. I do not agree with those numbers. Now, I don't have any way to prove anything different, but let's just ask a question. How many in this room right here had a stroke due to high blood pressure? 1, 2. 2 of us. And so I feel like everything is just kind of thrown out there, kind of to Arnie's point. It's like this, let's just put it out there and to hell with everybody. So we are making an impact, and Michael, you are making a huge impact out there, buddy. And so we've got to continue to do this. And Stephen, I'm sorry, we're kind of getting off track, but this is what this is about. We are all stroke survivors, and we're passionate about making this difference. And so thank you, Arnie, and thank you, Michael. I mean, great stuff. Monica.
Hey, Keith, to what Stephen added earlier about, or Jim added earlier that, there's such a high percentage of military people with PTSD, are at risk of having a stroke. I mean, I've been angry with my doctors because I felt like my stroke could have been not prevented, but minimized, if not prevented, because mine was caused by excess plaque buildup. And if my doctors were a little bit proactive, they could have done a CT scan to look at my plaque buildup, and if that was the case, they could have gone in and, and kind of did the, I won't say the roto-rooter of my arteries to clean out the plaque. I wouldn't have had a stroke.
Yeah. Well, and here we are. And so, you guys know how much I care for each and every one of you, and Arnie, you as well, buddy. But here we are. And so we've got to make the best of it and kind of get back to Stephen's point. And look what he went through. And now he's rebuilding, he has rebuilt and is continuing to rebuild his life. And I say, until we get put in the grave, we got to continue to do that. And so,
but how, Keith? How?
Well, just a second. Let's get through some of the questions first, Arnie, please. Monica.
So, Stephen, you did a number of unusual things to facilitate your healing. And I mean, that helped you to integrate traumas that you had when you were a kid, traumas that you had in the military, and the trauma of stroke. And some of the things you did were quite unusual. For example, ketamine. And in Peru, I assume you did ayahuasca.
That's correct.
But what did you find most helpful to you in getting, I don't know what you call it, centered or grounded or in a place to move forward or to be able to move forward?
I built a strong foundation with philosophies and let's say all over the world. I did that while I was engaging in traditional medical treatment, and at one point, as I mentioned about listening to oneself, I just felt there was something more. Like I've been working at this, but there's something more. And I was called, I believe there's a calling. And I listened to that and I followed it. And that calling was the Amazon rainforest, was the sacred plant medicine ayahuasca. And for what that may be for each person, that is their own journey, their own wisdom. But for me, that sort of synthesized everything that I had been through, all the healing work that I had done, and to include, the spiritual journey, which for me was a part of the healing work. It gave me so much insight about who I am and what I had been through, and really a tool. And then there's integration. And so now I feel it didn't end my journey, this healing journey, but what it did is give me some tools. So later on, when in the last couple of years, I experienced some new grief, a ranger buddy committing suicide, and the grief of loss. I had some some stools. I had some of those too. But a lot of tools to sit with the grief and to just get through it and put one foot in front of the other, and then later on have some more perspective to look back and say like, whoa. And I did that with not a significant support network. And I attribute that to all the work I had done beforehand. So I think it's important to build a strong foundation in the body and in the mind. It's about building trust for me. If my mind doesn't, if I continue to break trust between my mind and body and heart, then there's a lack of continuity in myself, and it becomes difficult, more difficult to function. And then there aren't any stools.
Quickly now, I want to get through a couple more questions, and then in respect of time for everyone, I want to make sure I keep that going. So Michelle, were you next? Did you have a question?
Mine's fast, but first I want to tell Arnie I'm doing a stroke walk in Chicago next month.
Oh,
They
good.
do exist. But my question is for Stephen. Is there any way to get a copy of the words to the Warrior Creed?
Of course, we'll distribute that right after the meeting. Is it?
We Keith, we have it all typed up.
Oh, you do?
And oh yeah, I loved it so much when Stephen sent it to me the other day. Oh my gosh, I must have sat there for 10 minutes and read it and reread it. And I was just so moved by it. And I knew that other stroke warriors would be. So I have it typed up. We're gonna use it a variety of ways. But Keith, if you've got everybody's email that's on here, I'll just forward it to you or to Gabby.
Well, we'll put it out in the when we do the recording. And
okay, great.
Stephen sent it to me as well, typed up. And thank you, Lane. That's awesome. That was incredible, by the way.
Steve,
go ahead, Stephen. Stephen, did you have something?
Yeah, real quick. In Arnie, I think how can we help get this out into the consciousness, and little by little we can bring the awareness that's going to tip the pot over into getting some real institutional awareness for stroke, and it could even start with this warrior ethos and giving people a something to recite, to have in their heart every morning when they wake up, to move on and continue this good fight for stroke.
Stephen, I just, and Arnie and you guys, not that it matters, but I want to just copy that. And Jim, you're next, but I have a mantra that I wrote out for me personally, and I listen to almost every day, and I journal almost every day. And you guys, it's critically important that you have something that you're putting in, something that is moving you the right direction. And as well, I journal because in the mornings I journal, I get all the stuff out of my head, and then I leave it, and then I can have a good day. Now, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but I just want you guys to think about that, because it makes a huge impact. And what Stephen's saying is critically important. So Jim, go ahead, and then we got to wrap up, guys.
Well, I just want to say, since we've got Arnie's engine wound up.
Oh, I'm wound up, Jim.
I got a suggestion for you.
And to Stephen and Keith, in my professional career, I was never one to sit and watch. You know, there was problems, I hit it. And
Okay,
Stephen,
let me-
I'll tell you, I'm not gonna sit and let this thing go. Jim's right, my motor's revved up and I'm gonna go.
Okay,
Okay.
let me remind stroke warriors. Stroke was a big part of the last election cycle. Let us not forget about Senator John Fetterman from the state of Pennsylvania. If, you know, I've tried to fill the guy's email inbox up with stroke awareness, and you know, I'm sure he's looking for advocates just like we are. Arnie, consider reaching out to your senators in Missouri and saying to them what you said to this group, and connect Senator Fetterman to the conversation.
Wow.
If we really want to make a difference, that's where this has got to go, you know,
Wow.
because legislators are also a part of the answer to how stroke warriors are discriminated against when it comes to disability insurance and financial support. But that's where we got to go. We're building a voice. We're building an army. We now have an ethos. Let's put it to work.
I love it. Jim, that was on the money, buddy. Thank you for saying that. And Arnie, I hope that worked out well for you. Michael, I wanted to say something to Michael real quick. I love your passion, bud. And I wasn't arguing with you. I want to make sure you know that. I just, you know, through running these meetings and doing all this, sometimes I wonder if the numbers that they put out there, you know what I mean?
Well, I agree with you. It's like 795,000 people have a stroke a year. You've been telling me that, and you're showing it on statistics since 2012. Are you telling me every year that 795,000 people have a stroke? So
yeah. And with COVID, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We saw the numbers go like this
Yes.
after COVID.
So I do not disagree with you, and I don't know for a fact by any means. I just quoted what was said.
Yeah.
And supposedly the American Stroke Association.
Yeah.
But as you said, I mean, it's easy. How in the world for 10 years can we be having the same amount of strokes per year?
Yeah.
There is no way I believe that.
No way. All right, guys. Listen, let's start wrapping up, because first of all,
Oh, Stephen, will you come back and speak to us again?
Of course, of course. And if anyone wants to reach out, we can distribute contact information. Yeah, whenever.
okay, because I will do that. And thank you, Lane. That was the first thing I was going to say as well, because Stephen, that was incredible. I know there's more to the story. And I loved how you set that up, and I love your demeanor, frankly. I love how you're just smooth. I mean, you're thoughtful. You think your way through, and that means the world to all of us. I so appreciate you, buddy. And I hope we can continue our friendship as well.
Definitely. Thank you, Keith. Thanks to all of you warriors. I think we give each other hope and strength. The one, aside from the statistics, what was brought to my attention in finding out about Stroke Awareness Oregon was that stroke is the leading cause of disability. Not combat, but stroke. So that was important for me. Now we could dive into those numbers, but I think it's important to realize that, honor yourselves for the fight, and how far you've come. Thank you for your service to yourselves.
No, thank you for your service and for everything, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
Last quick thing, we're gonna have an open meeting next time, and then we've got a good speaker coming after that as well. But this was fantastic meeting. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. And please do us a favor. And as you meet other stroke survivors and you know other people, let's get the word out. Let's continue. These are great meetings, I'm telling you. And that isn't for me, it's from you guys. It's all of you, and it's the speakers that we have. And I'm just thankful for all of you. And I want you to all know that very much. So, all right. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a fantastic day, Stephen.
Another
Great.
good meeting, Keith.
Thank you, Arnie.
Thank you all.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Keith, don't forget the books.
I think 2 were already sent to you, buddy. Have you gotten any yet?
I've gotten one, but I need 2 more.
Okay, we'll make sure.
Are you
that happens.
talking about life books?
Yes, he's got doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I had not gotten any.
You didn't get any, Monica?
No, I had not received
Oh
one.
my gosh. Gabby, are you around?
Yeah, let me check really quick. I might have sent Monica's, that might have been sent last Wednesday or Thursday. So it still might be in progress to you.
Okay.
So we'll
Thank
get
you.
those to you. Let's get a couple to Arnie. And for all of you who don't know it, you're gonna see a new cover on the book. So what we did was the book stays the same, except we've added Ralph's story to it. But there's a new cover with faces of stroke survivors. It's really pretty spectacular, same book. And that is being published now on Amazon. So, but Monica will get your copy. Arnie, we're always happy to give copies to people.
Thanks, Lonnie.
Yeah, and you know, everybody who's sitting here, Liz is in the middle of writing her book, and there's others, you know, out there that will be, you know, we'll make sure we say things about it too, Liz.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But gosh, thank you guys so much. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, Karen.
See everybody. See you next time.
And
Good
we'll
to
see
see
you
you.
guys next time.
Bye,
Appreciate
Keith.
it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.